What's up, guys? Trail here, better known as Budget Bill, and this is your fourth stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Monday, April the 19th. Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you had an amazing weekend. But let's go ahead and talk about the $2,000 fourth stimulus check that could be included in the President Biden's infrastructure bill. We also have so many people hoping and wishing that we will receive another stimulus check, and some even praying for reoccurring stimulus checks. But no one knows at this time whether those will actually happen. But it does look pretty promising. Yes, it does. Could we even receive monthly checks as well? Yes, we possibly could. Will these receive bipartisan support from the Republicans? No, it probably won't. But let's go ahead and talk about it today and how we could see these fourth stimulus checks sooner than we think. Also, Elizabeth Warren and other lawmakers are still calling on the Biden administration to forgive more student loan debt, as so many Americans still struggling with huge amounts of student loans that prevent them from getting ahead. We are going to discuss that today. But before we get started, y'all already know what to do. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me, and then let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, guys, we now have more than 100 Democrats calling for a fourth stimulus check. More and more lawmakers are getting behind the idea of providing at least one more stimulus check to the American people, as millions of Americans are still struggling and trying to play catch up. The statistics around us show that how successful the first three stimulus checks for Americans is pretty clear. And this also includes Social Security recipients, such as those who receive SSI, SSDI, VA, and railroad benefits. The poverty line increased for 6 months in a row after the pandemic hit last year. However, with the help from the first stimulus check of $1,200, the second stimulus check of $600, and the third stimulus check of $1,400, poverty actually dropped significantly. It actually lifted about 1.6 million Americans out of poverty. So when you look at these numbers, you realize how much benefit another round of fourth stimulus checks can do for struggling families. And now that those on unemployment benefits are reaching a full year of benefits or due for a reduction or no longer eligible to receive unemployment benefits, more Americans are due to enter into the possibility of falling below the poverty line. We now have more than 100 Democrats adding more pressure on President Biden to have more stimulus checks and reoccurring checks. Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib has introduced a bill that she considers needed for the country. She said, "Our country needs to step up and again have what we would call monthly payments." Tlaib said that she is pushing for a $2,000 per month payment on debit cards to get to every resident across the districts for it to be aggressive and very inclusive. After the pandemic, $1,000 reoccurring monthly payments will be sent to everyone for 1 year, which is why she introduced the ABC Act, or the Automatic Boost to Communities Act. And this bill appears to be the most promising bill out so far. It is clearly stated and specific about what the American people actually need right now. Americans have already received a one-time payment of various amounts for the past 12 months, but these one-time payments is just not enough. She said that they're not really giving Americans a boost. They are an attempt to catch Americans up with their late bills or their rent payments or even their mortgage payments, and preventing a lot of people from being evicted from their homes. But Tlaib said that a one-time payment is just not enough. Americans need monthly reoccurring payments for at least 12 months, which she believes that $1,000 for individuals is exactly what needs to happen. Tlaib said that this new bill would be able to offer this help to struggling Americans, and it will come directly from the Treasury with no additional debt issued. They are asking for something that's never really been done in the past. Tlaib and Jayapal said that the Treasury could mint two $1 trillion coins in order to pay for these stimulus checks. They said that this would also uplift unbanked and underbanked communities by creating a buffer for people who have seen their cost of living rise for decades as their wages have stayed the same. It would provide real money in the pockets of people across the country instead of tax breaks that people typically don't see. So this is the proposal brought together to offer reoccurring monthly payments. So far, President Biden hasn't really committed to any stimulus check at all or reoccurring stimulus checks. He hasn't signed against them either as well. But he is still working on getting more support for his $2.3 trillion infrastructure bill, or also known as the Americans Job Plan. He believes that his plan will boost American competitive edge as well as to create middle-class jobs. Biden has received backlash from the opposite side, in which the GOP believes that no more spending on the economy is needed at this time. It's like the GOP party can only see themselves when it comes to the struggling Americans. However, Biden has listened to the opposing side, and he has stated that he is wanting to sit down with them and talk and negotiate their concerns regarding his massive infrastructure bill. Biden met with a group of bipartisan lawmakers last week, and he is planning on meeting with them again today. That group is made up of 5 Democrats and 4 Republicans. We are not sure exactly how their first meeting went, but we hope to get some clear details from their meeting today. We must assume that it is positive, as they have decided to meet again for a second round. Biden didn't clearly have a stimulus check included in the infrastructure bill. However, other Democratic leaders, such as Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, stated that Americans are set and should receive more stimulus relief aid in the near future. Schumer said that Americans are still struggling right now, and it is their job to make sure that Americans receive what they deserve, and they are currently working legislation to do just that. If these bipartisan meetings go well later today, we could see more direction in the coming days as to how this infrastructure bill will pass legislation. However, by then, there will be more support from the Republicans, and it is wise for Republicans to get behind and support this bill, as well as more stimulus payments in the near future, because if they don't, the Democrats are eager and wanting to use their best option, which is the budget reconciliation process, to push this legislation without the support of any Republicans, similar to what we saw during the third stimulus bill. Biden has already received word from the Senate parliamentarian that he could pass a few more bills this year using the budget reconciliation. However, Biden continues to push for bipartisan support. So if the Republicans want to have any leverage or negotiation power regarding this next bill or this stimulus checks, they must act quickly to prevent another one-sided legislation bill being passed into law. And they also need to participate, as this could affect their midterm elections. If Biden continues to fight for the American people and the GOP continues to go against that, then more Americans will be voting for the Democrats in the coming election. Americans are struggling right now and need immediate relief aid, and the Biden administration is trying to give it to them, while the GOP continues to try and block all measures of support for the people who need it the most. But there is one promising thing that came out as of yesterday regarding the first meeting with President Biden and these bipartisan members. Senator John Cornyn of Texas said on Sunday that Senate Republicans are seeking a compromise on the infrastructure bill, but they will know more after their second meeting on Monday today. So let's see how that meeting turns out today, and hopefully we will have more insight for our future of a fourth stimulus check and those reoccurring stimulus checks. Now, in other news, the topic around student loan forgiveness will forever stay as a top priority. But now, Elizabeth Warren and other progressive lawmakers are still pressing President Biden to forgive more student loan debt. Right now, the U.S. loan debt in America is over $1.7 trillion, which is spread among 44.7 million borrowers. President Biden has actually already forgave about 3 rounds of student loan debt so far, but Elizabeth Warren wants it for everyone. Here is what Elizabeth Warren had to say about the student loan initiative that she is pushing right now.
The subcommittee has a mandate to examine the economy and how to make sure it works for all Americans. Given this mandate, there is no better topic for our first hearing than student loans and their impact on racial justice, on borrowers, and on the economy. The student loan debt burden is massive, and it affects millions of families. About 43 million Americans owe more than $1.7 trillion in student loans. That's an average of almost $40,000 per borrower. Student loan debt takes a real bite out of personal finances. It can mean that borrowers can't afford a new car or can't get a mortgage or can't launch a business or can't start a family. This hurts them individually, but it also hurts the whole economy. The burden is so heavy that when the pandemic hit, Republican and Democratic policymakers recognized that loan payments would just sink families. So first President Trump and then President Biden paused student loan payments and canceled accumulated interest. It was a smart move, but in a few months, those payments are scheduled to go up again. America is facing a student loan time bomb that, when it explodes, could throw millions of families over a financial cliff. The average borrower will have to start paying nearly $400 a month to the government instead of spending that money out in the economy. Student debt also makes racial disparities in America even worse. Compared with white students, Black and Hispanic students are forced to borrow more money to go to school, borrow more money while they're in school, and have a harder time paying off their loans after graduation. I'm just going to do one statistic around this. 20 years after taking out their student loans, median white borrowers owe about 6% of their original amount. The end is in sight. But after 20 years, median Black borrowers still owe 95% of the original amount they borrowed. Their path seems to stretch on forever. We can help. Leader Schumer and I have urged President Biden to address this economic problem by using his existing authority to cancel $50,000 in student debt for each borrower. New data I obtained from the Education Department reveals the benefits of debt cancellation. The data show that if we cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, 36 million borrowers would be completely relieved of their debt burdens. A significant number of these borrowers who would finally be free of student loan debt, 3.1 million people, have already been carrying their debt burden for over 20 years. It's time to act now. Republican and Democratic presidents have a long history of using their statutory authority to cancel student loan debt. President Obama used this authority to cancel all debt for tens of thousands of students, and President Trump used this authority to cancel some debt, accrued interest, for 37 million federal borrowers. Canceling $50,000 in student loan debt would also help close the Black-white wealth gap among borrowers by 25 points. For Latinos, the gap would close by 27 points. This is the single most powerful executive action President Biden could take to advance racial equity and give everyone in America a chance to build a real future.
Now we can see that Elizabeth Warren is right about student loan debt being a time bomb just waiting to happen. And President Biden can do something to prevent this right now. But President Biden doesn't really want to sign an executive order to relieve the student loan debt. Biden prefers to have student loan debt forgiven in 3 different ways. Number 1, student loan cancellation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 2, public service loan forgiveness. And number 3, low-income borrowers with high student loan debt. This is Biden's preference. However, he is still open to forgiving about $10,000 in student loan debt, but still is hesitant on forgiving up to $50,000. So will President Biden ultimately help every student loan borrower in America with their federal student loans? Or will Biden continue to wipe off small amounts of debt at random like he has been doing in the past? Let me know what you guys think about all this. And if any of you watching this video are currently carrying student loan debt, Let me know down below in the comment section. My wife carries about $47,000 in student loan debt, but unfortunately, her loans are private loans, which means they will not be affected if President Biden signs this executive order to relieve all student loan debt. But let me know your thoughts down below. And with that being said, hey, this has been your fourth stimulus check update video for today. If you enjoyed any of this information or found it to be useful, be sure to hit the like button for me. It definitely helps out a lot, and it also tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so that you can be a part of this community, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.